Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. I bring back again to the show Dr. Ellis Whitehead. Hey Ellis, how you doing?
Hi there, Danny. Doing well. You?
Yeah, good. Just want to do a continuation on from last week's podcast and just fill some of the gaps. I've often mentioned, and we've kind of not discussed it, and we've mentioned it and then said we'll cover it in a later episode, is this whole long tail in different marketplaces, especially in the EU, and you're used to selling in the US. And so really today's show is going to be about technical and non-technical on the PPC side. And now you need to be aware where you can't just grab your SKUs, have success in the US and necessarily throw it across each European marketplace and it just be, it will take off for you or your product's ubiquitous. So if we just back up a little bit, let's start with first things first, talk about your observations where we've clients of ours have gone from the US to the EU markets. What have you seen on the data side?
Well, I guess sticking to particularly the topic of long tail and short tail
Mm,
is that the long tail, there's less long tail in Europe,
mm,
and the long tail that there is has a lower search volume.
mm,
So in the US, we have clients where maybe 60% of their sales come through long tail, and I'm talking about, this is a lot of sales.
yeah.
Okay, so this is not people selling us, just a few products a day or something, but a lot of volume, but on the, where most of their sales are coming from long tail. So that's really important for some clients. We have other clients, high volume, where they're only selling 20% or only 20% of their sales are through long tail. But so it depends on the product. When you come over to Europe, there are many fewer long tail keywords because people, they don't start necessarily with long tail keywords. Usually they might start with some shorter term, and then if they just don't see what they're looking for, I mean, not the types of products, then maybe they'll go in and try a longer tail keyword. But since there are fewer products in the European marketplaces, people are less likely to have to have to do that, or to have developed the habit of already starting with longer tail keywords. So even among those where you do have it, there's simply less search volume. So if you were to take a product from the US where you're expecting to be, getting a lot of long tail searches, maybe the 60% of your sales coming through long tail keywords, where you might be having relatively high conversion rates, you would come over here and you would have less competition on the short tail. So that's good for you. But you might find that the long tail is almost non-existent, or at least it's not bringing you the volume of sales that you would have expected if you expect things to be the same.
Yeah. So how do we account for that with the team? So how would you sit down? We take a client from they're currently doing really well in the US, and then we want to bring them into, let's just say, main markets first. We go, right, we know that generally if your product culturally works in that territory, Germany and UK are kind of the safer bets over, say, sleepy Spain, France, and Italy.
Right. Yeah.
What's the general approach here when a client wants to move their products over to the European marketplaces from a PPC perspective for testing the water?
Yeah. So it's there are a few different things you'd have to look at. One of them is that your products might be successful in the United States because you were grandparented in, or because you got in before a lot of the
Yep.
competition started, and you've been able to maintain your position partially due to having a lot of reviews and things like this. You might find that if you try to come over here, that there already is strong competition with regard to people selling similar things with good ratings and lots of reviews. And so it might not, that would be something to really consider. If this competition is really strong, it might not work here. So I'm going to start with some of the
Yep.
negatives. The other thing is that you might find that there is just not the market here. And the best way to test that is to look at the brand analytics reports. And you'll find that they're going to be different keywords. So you shouldn't just base it on the same keywords in the United States, but that's a good place to start. And then from there to expand to see what are people searching for. And then you check basically the ranks and how well are your products ranking. Now that said, there you'll see in the brand analytics reports in the United States, you're going to have more than 1 million keywords that are showing up. The reports won't give you more than 1 million, but they're more than 1 million in practice there, and or in principle. And in Germany, you might have 400,000. So there's just there's only 40%, not even 40%, maybe 25%. No, I'm calculating that wrong. 30% of the same number of searches that are going on, which have enough volume for them to be included in the brand analytics report.
Can I quickly ask you a question? It's just slightly going off subject, but with brand analytics, how are you, because obviously it's not based on search volume. When you're looking at it, it's based on positioning of the search terms in the order of sequence of being searched. So something that's sitting at, 400 as opposed to 10,000 or further back. How are you roughly calculating, not in the exact science, but how are you roughly calculating, okay, so that keyword there, that's probably around this search volume. So where you're trying to ascertain whether it's viable or not.
So I don't actually try to do that in Europe. What we do, so it can be done, and Jungle Scout's able to do it in the background, but we there's a kind of a rule of thumb. It's a little bit complicated, and that is, I compare the keywords on a relative basis. And if you have one keyword at 1,000, rank 1,000, and another keyword at rank 16,000, with that 16 times difference in rank, there's about a 2 times difference in search volume.
Gotcha. Yep.
Just as a rough.
It's just a rule. Yeah, exactly. It's a rule of thumb. Everyone knows out there, a lot of the stuff that you're doing, you're looking between the lines, aren't you? You're doing using guesstimation and then moving forward from there. Cool. All right. So we've established that you're moving these products into the marketplace. You're testing the water. You're looking at the reports in terms of the keywords with brand analytics, etc. Discovery campaigns. What would you be your approach? You're entering this market. Let's just say Germany. You've got the language barrier. You don't have such a problem being fluent in German, but then I don't know if you speak Spanish or Italian or whatever. So you'll face the same problems as other people.
Sure.
What would you do here in this case for a non-English speaking territory in terms of extrapolating? Sorry, what's going on in the US to that market?
So there are a few things. If your products, their keywords are showing up in the brand analytics, then that's the best place to start. So you, what you need to do is, even if you don't know the language, that's fine. You find some, you do some search, you find some competitors who are ranking at the top, and then you look for their ASINs in the brand analytics report. So that gives you some keywords back, and you might then use those keywords to find some more ASINs. You check out those ASINs, see, are they, competitors where they should be selling on the same keywords as I am. And then you include them into your competitor list, and you look for them, see what keywords are they showing up for. And this, you might do this 2 or 3 times, this kind of iterative process. And that gives you a list of keywords that that definitely have a certain search volume. And so we take those keywords. The next thing that we will consider are the Amazon suggested PPC keywords, and they'll give you up to 1,000 PPC keyword suggestions. And so we could start with those. then put those keywords plug them into the brand analytics. I mean, search for them in the brand analytics reports and see what ASINs are coming up. Do they have search volume? We do not only do keywords that show up in the brand analytics reports. So it depends on the product. If the product is one where it has a lot of keywords in brand analytics, then we don't necessarily bother with the keywords that are not showing up in brand analytics.
Yeah.
If we're not finding a whole lot in brand analytics, then we'll use the suggested keywords as well. And so that's really a great place to start. And then if you want to do broad keywords as well to begin with, what you can do is evaluate the keywords that are showing up in preferably the brand analytics reports or whatever your list is, and pick out the keywords that should have a high conversion rate the individual words that should have a high conversion rate for your products. And so if you can then take the, say, 2 or 3 word combinations of these individual words, and you might run broad campaigns on those.
Yep, that makes sense. And so in terms of what would you suggest people listening to the show now, they're moving into the European market, how would you structure it, like on a SKU by SKU basis? And, how would you structure things here? Would you take, say, the highest performing SKUs from the US and launch 3 of them out of the 10, for instance, to get everything in motion? Or do you take all of it? What would be the staggered approach for people?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and there's a lot of business strategy that's involved there as well.
Yep.
So on the one hand, the more that you can launch at once, the more you have to work with. But the trade-off is that it constricts your cash. You end up with cash flow constrictions. And if you're selling low, then it's bad for your annualized return on investment.
Yep.
So what we do is we look at the products with a client and look at what are the competitors doing, what are the brand analytics results. So which ones do we see as having the most potential from a PPC perspective? And so, with that evaluation, that can help in the decision of which SKUs do we want to bring over, and either product types or variants of those product types. So normally people don't want to bring everything over at once. Often they don't want to bring everything over at once. And so the ones where we can see, it looks like we could do something with PPC, that's a good place to start.
Yeah. Cool. And in terms of structure, parent-child product groups and stuff stays relatively the same as you would done in the other marketplaces?
Yes, the considerations are the same as in the United States. If you have separate parent ASINs, then your products can show up multiple times on the front page. And of course, there's some categories where Amazon doesn't let you have parent listings, but the trade-off is that so there are some categories where when you have variants, all of their sales will be aggregated together and your parent ASIN will be ranked. And so the more variants you have in that parent ASIN, the more likely you are to be able to get a higher ranking. But that's only in some categories. In other categories, each ASIN is ranked independently. And so the only advantage to having the parent ASIN is that when people go into it, they can select among your variations. But it doesn't help with your ranking, and it prevents your listings from showing up multiple times on the front page because it'll only show each parent listing. So if these decisions, same strategy decisions as in the United States or whatever your home market is, you might want to parent things together because maybe you have some reviews on 1 or 2 of the SKUs, and this helps bring people in, maybe buy the others and help you get reviews on the others. And then maybe you want to start separating them out in order to have more ad space
Mm.
at some point after you have enough reviews. Depends.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so let's wrap that there. Just so let's just top down. Give me a handful of things that people should prepare for if they're leaving the US market, not leaving, but if they want to join the EU market from the US. What are the key standouts they need to consider?
Well, the most important thing is doing the research, especially with regard to which are your closest competitors in the market you're going into, getting those ASINs, doing the brand analytics research to see, is there actually a market there? And then also looking, how strong are your competitors?
Yeah.
And that's the data you need to have before you can really start making a decision about whether it makes sense to come over.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. And then there's the question of, are you going to try to be doing external marketing as well? There's some people who have, they can create the demand outside of Amazon, even if it's not there yet.
Yeah.
And so that would be, if that's the case, that's then an entirely different set of considerations.
Yeah, cool. That makes total sense. So let's leave that there. If you want to reach out to us looking for PPC management, you can drop me an email with danny@databrill.com or go to sellersessions.com/agency or sellersessions.com/case-study, and you can get in contact this way. Ellis will be at Seller Sessions Live on May 9th. Just to let you guys know, we have a wait list now. Seller Sessions is sold out. Other than that, I'll see you again in the next few days. Take care.